Welcome to the online graduate research forum for fall 2015. My name is Resendez, your presenter. I am a graduate student in the Masters of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies program in the Department of Occupational Workforce and Leadership Studies. The title of my research study is The Graduation Rate for the Youth in Detention at the Texas Juvenile Justice Department. I was captivated to pursue this research study into the graduation rates of the youth in detention at the Texas Juvenile Justice Department after I had read that despite the importance of education inside youth prisons, very little research has been documented showing the success or failures of educational programs in detention facilities. Currently, there are over 1,200 youth offenders in the care of TJJD, with the majority of these students having mental health disorders, drugs and alcohol dependency, family and social needs, and come from economically disadvantaged families. While the mission of TJJD is to incarcerate, educate, and rehabilitate these youth, in 2007 the Texas Youth Commission, now TJJD, became embroiled in allegations of child sexual abuse by staff members. Consequently, the Texas legislature began to dismantle the agency. Between 2007 and 2012, the state shuttered 8 of its state-run juvenile correctional facilities, reduced appropriations from $469 million to $290 million, and the number of youth incarcerated in these facilities was reduced by 66%, from 4,305 to 1,481. This study gathered the aggregate graduation rate along with career certification programs for the youth at TJJD from 2010 through 2014. TJJD provides year-round education for the incarcerated youth at their 6 secured facilities and adhere to the Texas Education Certification Standards. These students are as young as 10 years old and can have sentences that keep them incarcerated at TJJD up till their 19th birthday. All have committed at least one felony offense. The research design applied descriptive statistics utilizing quantified data and is presented in a thesis-style report of the TJJD youth incarcerated between 2010 through 2014. The number of records involved in the dataset and information available in each of these records, such as location, monthly math and reading gains by gender and race, made it possible to conduct multivariate analysis. Students upon admission to TJJD's orientation and assessments receive an individualized achievement test, language proficiency evaluation, and a vocational aptitude and psychological evaluations. From my research, the following statistics are the average profiles for these youth. They have an average of 5th grade math and reading levels. The average for the last grade completed at a public school is the 8th grade. 82% have 2 or more specialized treatment needs. 72% have a violent behavior disorder. 82% are in need of alcohol or drug treatment, and over 40% are school dropouts. Additional data gathered provided backgrounds of these students and helps explain the low graduation rates found in this research. 54% have parents that are not married, 22% have parents who are divorced, 49% came from families with criminal history, 92% are male, 8% are female, 18% are Anglo, 35% are African American, and 46% are Hispanic. Major finding of this research was that the Texas public school system have an average of 88% graduation rate, and after gathering the available data for TJJD students, these graduation rates are not stellar. They come in at 47.51%. However, you must keep them in perspective. These youth are the worst of the worst. Many of them have given up on the educational system and do not believe that education is an achievable goal for them. TJJ teachers are working hard to educate these youth, and TJJD has considerable challenges to re-engage these youth and to help them succeed in educational settings and to prosper upon their release. Several programs have been put in place to help the graduation rates get better, such as Positive Behavioral Intervention and Support, PBIS, and new Web 2.0 technologies. Time will tell if these programs will keep these rates going up. Just because these figures are hard to digest is no reason to give up on any of these youth or the programs that train these youth for a job once they have been released from TJJD. My study was limited by the available public documented graduation data of the TJJD students. I began with TEA's website and was unable to locate any data related to this research. My next step was to request the data from TEA via the formal open records request. About a week later, I received an email stating that they unfortunately do not calculate graduation rates for TJJD or the former Texas Youth Commission. They suggested that I contact TJJD directly for the information on student performance. So I held several meetings with the TJJD Research Department to gather the data presented in this report. Another issue faced in this research is trying to compare the change and movement of the population. In 2007, TYC had over 4,300 youth in 18 secured facilities, and in 2014, TJJD had 6 secured facilities and only about 1,200 youth. However, these newly admitted youth have committed higher violent offenses and have a higher need of mental health treatments. This research documented the graduation rates and available programs which hope to lower the recidivism rates in Texas, and hopefully these programs will prepare them with the job skills needed for today's marketplace and contribute to the overall well-being of TJJD students after being released. Data describing the number of youth served by programs, the number of youth who complete these programs, and whether the program's participants have subsequent contact with the juvenile justice system is collected, but rarely is it used to assess the overall performance of these programs, to improve the programs, or to hold the programs accountable for particular results. Nor is information about youth characteristics such as their risk and need factors ever used to ensure that TJJD is providing appropriate programs and services to the youth under their supervision. These could be future research projects. Another future research project is the impact that the current 84th legislature passed in Senate Bill 1630 might have on these youth. The bill instructed TJJD to develop and adopt a regionalization plan in which sentencing of these youth offenders are to be supervised closer to their home in local juvenile probation departments. SB 1630 amended the Human Resource Code and required TJJD to consult with juvenile probation departments and identify post-adjudication facilities capacity that may be dedicated to support the regionalization plan. The bill requires a regionalization plan to include redirection of staff and funding mechanisms necessary to support the plan, and to create a new division of TJJD responsible for administering the regionalization plan and monitoring the program's quality and accountability. So will these new plans prove to be effective? These will be great issues which future studies could detail how this impacts graduation rates for these youth and whether these counties are able to provide the services these youth so desperately need. The author is preparing a manuscript of this research study for peer review in the publication Journal of Research in Crime and Delinquency by Sage Publishing. Please indicate your anonymous preferences for this study by clicking on one of these 2 icons below. Also, please post your comments or questions in the YouTube comment section below. I will respond to your inquiries posted between November 17th through December 8th, and thank you for your participation.